Hello everybody and welcome to this Train Sim TV video. This is Mark. Today we are taking our second showcase look at the Derby to Nottingham and Leicester route. We're going to take a look at scenario 2A95, the 1752 Derby to Nottingham, and that's driving 1515856 and it's based in April 2018. So as you can see, we're currently at Derby. We're on the extension version of the route once again. For those that didn't see the original video, the extension route is an extension to the Sheffield to Derby route. So you require Sheffield to Derby for the extension. If you buy the standalone version of Derby to Nottingham Leicester, you obviously can't then extend it onto any of the other routes, such as Sheffield to Derby or Matlock or Earwash Valley, which is to come as well. So if you wanted to get the full experience, you will need to already have Sheffield to Derby, which is on the left here. And you can also, if you want, own Matlock, although you don't have to own Matlock at all. And then the Earwash Valley is a future extension there, which will be again completely optional. So this is the extension for Derby-Nottingham Leicester, which gets you from Derby across to Trent Junctions up to Toton Depot. That's included in the DNL extension, and the line cuts off about here, and then you get the line across to Nottingham with Lenton triangles over there, and the Derby to Nottingham extension again ends just over here. And you also get the line from Trent Junction, Ratcliffe Power Station, and then you get the line all the way down through Loughborough past Brushworks to Leicester. And we took a look at all that section in part 1. So if you wanted to see Brushworks, you wanted to see Loughborough Station, Salver Station, Leicester Station, check out part 1, because showcase 1, because that has those already in it. And we took a detailed look around all of those bits. As I said in video 1, showcase 1, me and Tom have been heavily involved with the production of this route for Just Trains. We're totally biased towards it, and there is no way in which we could give a honest sort of review of it. So if you're looking for a review, check out other guys such as Owen Thompson, who I'm sure will take a look at it at some point. And there's other guys out there that do videos such as Moleman, who will take their own views on this route, I'm sure. So please do check those guys out. So we've got the head code there set for Nottingham, the destination blind. Going to open our window and we're going to head off. And we're all stations to Nottingham on this service. So for those who saw Showcase 1 and thought, well, we didn't take enough of a look around some of the stations like Attenborough, then we'll take another look around in this video as well. As we head on to Nottingham, we're going to call at Spondon, Long Eaton, Attenborough, Beeston and Nottingham, a journey of around 33 minutes to Nottingham itself. So the limit out of Derby, 30 mile an hour. All this of course was in the Sheffield to Derby route. So if you've got Sheffield to Derby or you want to buy Sheffield to Derby, we have got a showcase of that route available as well on our channel. And you can see all about that route in that video. So all this was already included in that. First thing that you'll probably notice, or hopefully notice, is that we've got new track. And this track was built by Goose Studios. George Hartley over there at Goose Studios made this track for us, and we're really impressed with the work that he's carried out to do this for us. You've got various types, and this is probably a good opportunity to show a few of them actually. You've got the concrete new, and that, don't worry about that little bit of fighting there, that's not the track as such, that's something that's gone on here, but specifically at Derby. You can see there it's not doing it, for instance. You've got various types. You've got wooden track, so you got over here, you got wooden oily, sort of dirty track, new concrete look, and then you've got also an older concrete look, and there are others as well. There's oily concrete, filthy concrete, and different wooden styles as well, as you can see over here in Derby RTC. You get quite a few different varieties of track included with the route. And if you don't actually own the Derby to Nottingham Leicester route, and you only own Sheffield to Derby, make sure you download the update, because you will get this track anyway with the Sheffield to Derby update. So again, a huge thanks to George Hartley at Goose Studios for creating that for us. He's done a fantastic job. So we're now heading out of Derby, passing Derby RTC on the right, Etches Park Depot on the left. we immediately curve away towards Spondon, which is just under 2 miles to our first stop there. Currently running on green signals, which we should run on all the way through to Trent at least, because there's nothing ahead of us, and we'll be stopping at all stations, so there's nothing really slower than us either. So as you curve away from Derby, you come quite close to Pride Park football ground where Derby County play. That'll be on our left in just over a minute's time. A few seconds time, not a minute. Just over there you got Derby Arena also in the foreground. So nice bits of custom scenery as you're heading away from Derby there. You've got Chaddersden Yard as well, which is actually just over the back. There used to be a through line that used to connect up from Chaddersden. An avoiding line for Derby Station. Sure as I've got the night headlight on. It's better. So in a second we're going to go under the Rainsway Bridge arrangements, which is a really cool sort of bridge alignment that takes you under the main roads out of Derby. As you can see. Train now leaning nicely into the curve as well. And I'm starting to get the brakes in ready for this stop at Spondon, which is just under half a mile, and you literally see the station just in front of us. So the section to Trent is on quite new ballast. You'll find that the ballast still get older as we get round towards Trent area, and that's because they've quite recently done a lot of work on this line. Some new houses on the left there in the JT Common Library. House 35 and 36 if I remember rightly, for those that like building their routes. We're now arriving into Spondon. Take a little look round whilst we're stopped here, so you can see what's going on. I'm messing my braking up again. It's a really short platform as well, so you've got to be careful with your stopping here, not to mess it up like I basically have. Got to make sure you get the rear of the train in. You can only really, hang on. You can only really get a 3-car train in here, that's why it says selective door opening 3 there. You can't fit 4 coaches in this station. So you got pure management building, I think it is, on the station there. You've got, of course, Spondon level crossing. As you'd expect, you've got all sorts of little bits of signage. And then we got new fencing and the footbridge itself over the top. You've got the site of the works over here, which has been quite a lot of demolishing work going on there. There's not much really left of it now, just this bit over here. The wind turbines, which of course do turn. And then you've got the area where the branch used to go down for the works is just in here. And you can still see some old sidings that are left. Bizarrely, they cut them off the main line a couple of years ago and just sort of left a loop there with nothing attached, so it's actually attached to the main line anymore. Obviously in days gone by it was. Got 222 coming in the direction. We're running slightly early on the service, about a minute early. Also at Spondon, you've got this disused part of the platform as well down here that you can see. Both sides have got quite long sections that are completely out of use. You got the little Lest We Forget memorial on there. We're just waiting for the right of way now. You got the car park and everything behind there. That's a separate car park to the station. Weirdly, when I went to research this back in March, couldn't actually find anywhere to park. There doesn't seem to be a car park for the station, which seems a bit of a short sight. But then I don't think it gets very well used, to be honest, the station, so it makes sense, I guess. So from here we got a 7-minute run through to Long Eaton, which is our next stop. From Long Eaton we'll then turn off and head left and eastwards to Nottingham, with stops in quick succession. I can barely speak today, I don't know what's wrong with me. Got stops in quick succession at Attenborough and Basin before we get to Nottingham. Those stations are like about a mile apart. And with the route you get 21 scenarios included. You also get 18 default versions as well, which are for people that have only got access to the European Local and Asset Pack stock. You should, in this route, for people that have been long-term customers of JT, you should find that there's a lot less reliance on Kuju assets in this route. Probably the least that there's ever been in a JT route, I would think. Most of the stuff is either from our own library or the Train Sim Academy, i.e. JTG library, so you'll see a lot of new foliage and stuff that comes from those. And hopefully the net result will be that it's one of the better looking JT routes that you've got. And the route is also quick drive compatible. This is both standalone and extension routes, and those quick drives have been kindly created by Max Mortimer and feature stopping and express patterns for the section down to Leicester, so you can do whatever you want basically, and choose whether you want to be on the slow line or fast line. And they include a fair decent amount of AI and stuff like that as well to keep them interesting. So we should get up to our maximum speed on this service of 90 mph on this section as we now exit from Spondon. FPS wise at the minute I'm running at 65. I'm on quite a decent rig, but tried to keep it on my system up at 60 so people on similar sort of computers are on can get the most out of it. We don't want to knock too much detail off, but there has been a conscious approach to try and keep detail sort of limited, so you're not seeing stuff that's 70 miles from the track that you're not going to actually see. So you can see, such as here, you've only got stuff that's in the boundary and really that you can see from the cab or just above the train, trying to keep it sensible so you're not getting wasted resources, especially around this area going towards Trent, because from Trent it gets really pretty busy. As you can see, you've got all sorts going on. You've got the power station, you've got Toten as well, and Toten is also almost rendering in for us even at this distance. It's only about 2 miles over the hills to our left. So we'll soon be approaching Sawley, and as we go through Sawley it's where we go across a level crossing. We then go under a footbridge and under the M1 motorway. As we go under there we'll need to obviously get the brakes in for Long Eaton, which will only be about a mile away by that point. Another new footbridge there over the line, quite a big one with like a path that's suitable for horses up the side of it. Visited there in March this year to get photo reference of it. And then we're coming across Sawley Crossing now, so I'm going to shut the power off. And then as soon as we've gone across Sawley Crossing I will get the brakes on. Moving in again a little bit early. And you can see the M1 is up there on that bridge ahead of us. And we go under that and then we come out into all the housing estates in Long Eaton. There's a lot of houses placed around here. FPS wise I'm down at 43 now, and this is going towards the most intense area of the route. As I said in Showcase 1, it's a pretty busy area. Quite a few new features down here. We've got the new allotments which are on the right hand side as we're approaching here. You can see Ratcliffe Power Station as well in the far distance over there. But we've got these new allotments. So these have been created by Will. Come in various shapes and sizes. So you've got the small sets, you got bigger allotments, and there's different ones with all sorts of little bits so you can mix them up and you don't see the same one 1,000 times. Just bringing it in here easily as I already know there's no rush. I'm preparing to stop at Long Eaton Station. This one we visited back in December last year. Same can be said for Long Eaton and Beeston as well. So this is Long Eaton with the split lifts on either side and the long ramps on the approach as well. So we arrived bang on time. And you can see we're now on the older ballast rather than the newer one, on sort of a more standard ballast. And that changed just up past Sawley. We've got all sorts of signage going on. Centre of Quality Upholstery Maintenance, I think it says, is it? Manufacturer, sorry. The Derwent Valley posters which you find on here, because this is, as it says down there, the extension to the Erewash Valley that goes to Nottingham. And down here you got the station building. And on this side you got the lifts. And they come up onto the station as well. Various signs and stuff added in. And then we go along an embankment here before we turn left at Towton. At Trent Junction, sorry. To head round towards Nottingham. And we'll get a caution signal as we approach, or we should do anyway, towards Sheetstars Junction before we turn left and head towards Trent. And we're currently just here, as you can see. So we're going to head left around this curve at Sheetstars and then to Trent and onwards to Nottingham. Obviously you can head north if you want as well. You can go to Towton. And as I said at the beginning of the video, the Derby to Nottingham Leicester route ends around here by Stanton Gate. The Erewash Valley extension is probably about a couple of months from release at this stage. And you can, with that one, you'll be able to go up to Chesterfield and Sheffield via the Erewash Valley through Alfreton. So you can see we've got a single yellow, which is now cleared to a green on the approach control to that signal there, the limited aspect approach. And that's basically to make sure you're getting down towards the speed limit, which is actually 15 miles an hour in this direction around the curve, and 30 miles an hour afterwards. It's 10 miles an hour restriction in the other direction. Slow down quite early, so whilst we're going around, you got this marina here that we decided to get made especially for the area. So you got weird warehouses that are like 2-storey on this side. It's actually 1-storey on this side, so we wanted to simulate that as best we could. And then over here you got the floodplains and everything across towards Trent Viaduct, which is just off over here. And we'll take a little look around this, because I know in Showcase 1 we didn't really look much at Trent Viaduct. So you got the start of it here, then you got the Trent junctions in this space, and then you got the various canals and river arrangements. You got the River Trent over here, and you got the Trent Viaducts. So there's two of these. You've got the slow lines and the fast lines and another one. And then you've got the Red Hill tunnels with their castellated portals. You can see. And then Ratcliffe and everything at East Midlands. If you want to see towards East Midlands Parkway and you want to see stations to Leicester, then watch Showcase 1 because that covers those areas in more detail. We're now heading around the curve, 30-mile-an-hour curve, towards Trent Junction. From here we'll head onwards to Attenborough. Worth noting with this route, by the way, that if you do run with procedural floor off, I would suggest turning it off. And the reason for that is because with the way we're doing the terrain paint and stuff, because we've got this wider track that Goose Studios has provided, we don't actually need to do terrain ballast under the track and make it look like there's a massive ballast under there. It looks better if we just put grass under it in a lot of places. So obviously it's recommended that you run with procedural floor off so you don't get the grass coming through the track, as that's not really the intended look, obviously. It won't harm your simulation or anything if you do run with it on, it just won't look quite as good. So we're crossing right over here at Trent Junction now. You've got Trent Power Signal Box in the background there. And then we're just going to go under the Trent high level line. So that high level line above us there takes the freight lines, the slow lines. Where are we? Takes the slow lines over the top to access Toton Depot. And basically that's so coal trains can come out of Ratcliffe and easily access Toton without having to cross the line that we're on. In reality. And we're now heading towards Attenborough, which is just over 1.5 miles away. We should get up to nearly 80 miles an hour as we're going along here. Get another line coming on our left at Meadow Lane Junction in a second, and that is the other curve around from Toton. The Attenborough curve. And that's coming in on our left just here. Then you've obviously got Attenborough Nature Reserve, which is a very well known photo location. So a lot of people come down this area taking photos of trains on the section to Attenborough. You got the church in the background over there, and the lakes in the nature reserve. So there's a flood wall or something here as well. I'm not sure exactly what it is, to be honest, but there's a concrete wall there in real life, so I put that in. Simulated it as really as I could. And we're now coming in over the foot crossing, then we'll come over the level crossing as we enter into Attenborough Station. And we're again running about half a minute to a minute early. And this service is really timed for like a 153 or 156 rather than a 158, although 158s have run it because it's based on a photo that I saw. And pretty much all the scenarios, in fact all of the scenarios essentially, are based off photos on Flickr and stuff like that. So you should find that they're all realistic services, using a variety of stock as well. So we've got a couple of minutes here so we can have a good look around Attenborough Station. Again, this was one we visited in December last year. The curious thing about this one I noticed is that the certificate of excellence is your station, sponsored by ScotRail, when we're at Attenborough in Nottinghamshire. And you got all sorts like the little bug hotel, the plant pots, signage, And at this end you've also got the footbridge, which can be seen just here. Again, all specially created for the route. So we're just waiting now for the doors to shut. Next stop for us then will be Basin, and then we've got Nottingham to follow on after that. Well, we're due to arrive in Nottingham in about 12 minutes time, so a few minutes to go yet before we get there. We got the doors are shutting. Just waiting for the guard's buzzer and then we'll be away. Just a mile and a half between the two stations, Attenborough and Basin, so it's a really short little sprint. Time for about 3 minutes. So as I said in Showcase 1, you got the old Cemex loader over the top here. In real life, of course, this has now been removed, but we decided to leave it in, as it only went in the last 18 months or so. We wanted to have it in there as a little bit of a feature. A little visual addition, so that's been left in there as it is. We're now coming up towards, as I said, Beeston, so you got the warning sign here for the 25-mile-an-hour crossovers which are ahead. There's one in both directions because it's where the slow lines into Nottingham also start, as well as Beeston Yard. And taking the power, we've got a Cardiff service by the looks, or a Birmingham service coming towards us. Cross country 170, of course. Again, as I said before, scenery detail. Try to keep it minimum outside of the trackside areas to help the loading and FPS and stuff like that. Down at around 40-45 FPS at the minute. And that's coming into Nottingham, which obviously is a really intense sort of area. With its 7 platforms and all the bits that go into making that. So coming into Beeston, you got the Victoria Hotel there on the left, which we're coming past. Gone sailing past the stop point there, which is my bad. Very small station again, but it's got nice building and these peculiar shelters, which are literally wooden shelters all the way along the length of the station. Midland Counties Railway surveyed by Charles V.B. Vignoles. Basin Station opened the 4th of June 1839. Rebuilt by Midland Railway in 1847 and refurbished by British Rail in 1988. And you can sort of tell when you're on there, it's not been refurbished for a while because it's in a bit of a, or when we went at least, it was in a bit of a worn down sort of state. And the bridge, of course, is part of the model, so that comes with it. Then you got the footbridge at the other end and the pub, the Basin Victoria Hotel. And down here you got the old goods shed from where the yard used to be. Some old track left in there, although it's not actually connected directly. And as after we've left here, it's just over a mile, well, about 3-4 miles. Then into Nottingham. It's about 3.5 miles, I guess. Yeah, 3.3 miles. About a 7-minute journey. You often get held into Nottingham because it's a busy track layout going on there. So now going up to the 80-mile-an-hour limit. As we're heading away from Beeston. And this is where the yard starts, and you get all sorts of track layouts going on here. And this is an engineer's yard, so prefabricated point sections are actually made here. Or loaded onto trains here, I should say. You have run round loops as well, with the bizarre little sort of S-bend in them halfway along. And then over on the other side you've got the huge Boots warehouse. You've got Medicity and some really specific sort of warehousing that we've added in, because we wanted to give it sort of a unique look, as you can see over there. And we're then getting a double yellow signal, which we need to be aware of. We're going into platform 1 with this service at Nottingham, so we're going to be crossing right over, so we may well get some adverse signals as we are there. Got Beeston Scrapyard there actually on the right hand side, so you can take trains in there and load them if you want. We've got cool little features like the buffs smashed up and stuff, and you'll find those dotted around the route, as well as clean buffers and whatnot depending on the location. So it looks like we can expect to be held down here for a little while. And probably because there's AI traffic moving about just outside Nottingham Station, I would have thought. And as I said in Showcase 1, we're coming up to Lenton Bridge here, which is where the tram link goes over the top. We've actually got a green signal now, so we can speed up again. There was obviously a workshop service coming over the top, over the junction, I would suspect. So this is Lenton Curve to the left there, so the curve there can take you around towards the workshop line, towards the Airwash Valley eventually as well, up towards Radford Junction, and that heads off in that direction, should you wish to go that way. I've got to get the train ready to slow down for the first of all the 40 limit at this first crossover before we go along the 25 limit into Nottingham Station itself. We're taking line A being the leftmost, and then you've got line A to D, D being on the right. Class 156 leaving there, which is presumably a Matlock service. And of course, if you own the Sheffield to Derby route, the Derby-Nottingham Leicester extension and the Matlock Derwent Valley extension, you can drive the full service from Nottingham across to Matlock, which is quite a nice drive because it's so varied. There is a scenario included with Derby to Nottingham and Leicester that allows you to do that with the first service of the day from Nottingham to Matlock. And as we're coming in here, you can see the clock tower and everything on top of Nottingham Station dominating the view. You've got the Justice Centre to your left there. as we come gradually into the station. A 15-mile-an-hour limit coming up, and then we'll be going into the tunnel portal through to platform 1. Quite tight little tunnels under here. And then you can, when you're coming in here, you can pull up to the berth B boards if you want to, because that's they're where the non-standard length trains and stuff pull up to. I think it's a short. If you're a shorter than full length train, i.e. HST, you're looking for the berth B boards, which are placed sort of along the station at different intervals. That's the one for the other direction there, and then there's one up here as well for berth B, and we're going to pull right down to this one in the distance. So as per showcase 1, I'm not gonna press T. I'm just gonna leave the game paused while we have a little fly around. So this is Nottingham Station. Quite a busy area. You got 7 platforms at the station. You got the bay platform here, platform 2. So that's for trains heading away from Nottingham towards the East, like Newark and places like that. Obviously, the route itself just ends about half a mile around that corner, but maybe one day it'll get extended. Who knows? You got the cool little signals. You got these are all custom signals in terms of the little square heads on them, 3-aspect signals. And you got this cool little coactor here, which I quite like, which has been added into the common library as well for those who do their own routes and want to put cool little signals in there that are different. You got the bridge over the top, and then you got Eastcroft Depot down here. And you can of course go inside the main shed. Pretty basic in there, but you can go inside it if you want. You got the carriage washers, the fuel point in the back, and then you got the Colas Rail Depot on this side with its own fuel point, which functions and everything like that. All sorts of custom buildings around Nottingham, as you'd expect. We've gone for as much as we can. There's not much custom in the skyline in the distance. We wanted to keep it concise in terms of what we did around the station. So you've got all. This row here is all custom buildings, Jury's Inn, Carno Bank, the council buildings. You got the tram bridge over the top there in basic form. You've got the Granby Hotel and the Bentinck Hotel up on the top here, as well as the council and justice centre buildings and stuff over here. In the back you'll find it's very basic, because at the end of the day, 99% of the time you're going to be coming in an area of low level or cab view. You're not going to be flying right up in the air. So it's a case of keeping it sensible. Try and keep frame rates as high as we can. My frame rate as we're here is 44 looking that way, 37, 38. Obviously 90 odd if I look that way, 50 if I'm looking that way. Just take a little look around the station. So we've gone for a few little things we've not done before on stations, such as weathering, because it's a really sort of dirty station in Nottingham. We've gone for weathering on the bridge and on the tracks as well. We've gone for weathering as well as on the canopy. So you'll see around the areas that the exhaust stop, that one's actually been placed in slightly the wrong place, to be fair. Train should be a bit further that way. But in the areas where the exhaust goes up, we've got marks on the canopies so that you can see where the exhaust's been stuck going up there. And you got the little signal box on this end, I think it is. And then, as I said, the bay platform and everything going on. And then the new platform 4, which was put in a few years ago. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. This is the end of showcase number 2, so we've taken a good look there at the section from Derby to Nottingham. And we'll continue to do some of these showcases. We've got the whole of the industrial sort of sections of the route to look at, such as Towton and stuff like that. So that'll be a further video. Hope you've enjoyed it, guys. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I always appreciate your thoughts, and thanks very much for watching again. Thanks, guys. See you later. Bye.